There are a lot of ways to pimp out your crossbow. You can get the fancy colored strings and matching arrows. I love that stuff. You've seen it on the OB, the original Bunjie. I love that kind of stuff. But recently, the most common question I get is, hey, Rich, where did you get the fancy grips on the Enforcer? The Enforcer is a Killer Instinct SWAT X1. And as you can see, it's got custom 1911 grips on here, which is kind of interesting for a crossbow that ships with AR-15 style grips. Now, AR-15 style grips, those can be customized. You've seen friend of Bunjie, Jim, One-Eyed Archer, and his AR-15 grips, real comfortable and soft and all that other good stuff. I personally really like 1911 grips because they can be changed out easy enough, and because if you get on eBay, there are hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of options. You can spend all day just sitting there looking at the different options. The Scorpid Deathstalker here, the Slick Black Cadillac 1911 grips ship on that crossbow, and I did some custom mahogany style, stained them and polyurethane them myself. Now, I know a lot of you have purchased a SWAT X1. I hope you love it as much as I love the Enforcer. But I gotta tell you, I get that question all the time. How did you get the 1911 grips on here? Mentioned it in a previous video, but just because I keep getting that question, I am doing this video to show you how we did that. It is a AR-15 to 1911 converter that I purchased off of Natchez Shooting Supplies out of Texas. They shipped that to me. I took the old one off, put this one on. Had to buy a special bolt, go to the hardware store and get a bolt that fits it just right. And maybe you want to use some blue Loctite on there like I did to make sure that it stays on there, but also make sure you can replace it later on. Once you get that on there, you go on the old eBay and pick out some 1911 grips. The world is your oyster for 1911 grips. Man, I love that stuff. Now, what happens if you got an R29X, like this fine crossbow right here, right? Broke the news yesterday that this is now going to be, at least for now, part of the Bunjie arsenal of crossbows, right? Is it the Bunjie army of crossbows, the Bunjie arsenal of crossbows? Let me know your thoughts on that. It's a work in progress. So is this crossbow. Doesn't even have a scope on it yet. What kind of scope would go on here? But anyway, what do you do with a crossbow like this, right, that doesn't have 1911 grips, doesn't have AR-15 grips, doesn't have anything that we can modify there or change, right? How do we pimp out an already cool crossbow like this? Well, one thing you can do, obviously, you can go to the strings, right? Now, that might void the warranty. I probably am not going to stick with, like, the factory arrows too long. I don't know. I see myself playing with arrows. I just can't help myself, you know? So I can't hold off that temptation. But arrows, different color strings, stuff like that you can do on here. If you have other ideas, leave them in the comments. I'm very interested to hear about what people do to sort of pimp out their crossbows that does not change functionality. One thing we got to really watch, the warranty's one thing that's important, but you don't want to put your crossbow in jeopardy where it's going to damage the crossbow. We also don't want to do something that's going to impede the performance of the crossbow. I'm not a big fan of rubber doodads. Some crossbows come with them. If they come with them, you should probably leave them in place. But if they don't come with them, maybe you just shoot a heavier arrow instead to sort of reduce the vibration that way. I think you get a little bit more benefit from that. I've talked about that in plenty of other videos. One thing you can do on this crossbow, though, is add a hanger of some sort. This is from Jim from Backyard Broadheads. On his website, he offers all kinds of cool little contraptions to pimp out your Raven. All right, Jim from Backyard Broadheads, you want to tell us all about it?
Yep, I'm out here shooting some crossbows with Rich, and I make a bunch of Raven and other accessories that fit multiple crossbows. So I'm just going to run you through them real quick here. So this is the 4-in-1 light. This is a bipod, this is a ground rest, it's a lap rest when you're sitting down, it's a hanger, you can see right here, and it is a kickstand. So I got lucky building that one. It turned out to have multiple functions. Then I have the ones for the Ravens that go on the front, and if you have the R26 with your broadhead sticking out, it's going to protect your broadhead. This one's very popular, good for if you're in a blind, ground blind, or you know, permanent blind. You can rest this down on the ground and lean your crossbow up. And then if you want something that this goes on with nuts and screws. If you want one that goes on without tools, we have the quick attach version here. Just has nylock wing nuts. So this goes on and off real quick. This is a universal bipod, gets you nice and stable, and a lot of times this can also be used as a kickstand to stand your crossbow up vertically. If you want something a little bit smaller, say you're hunting out of a ground blind, this is the quick attach version of my smaller hanger for the ravens. And then this one is just the one that attaches with tools for the ravens.
Where can people go to get their hands on some of these goodies?
BackyardBroadheads.com.
I chose the 4-in-1 after looking at his whole selection. I really appreciate him coming up here and shooting in the backyard with me, the 60-yard backyard. I really appreciate him spending his time and letting me pick from those, see them all firsthand, his various products firsthand. I ended up buying this off him. This is the 4-in-1, I believe, and it goes right on there real easy. I can take it off real easy, throw it in a case, whatever. You can set it on a bench and shoot that way. You know, you can hang it like this from a tree stand. It also serves as a kickstand. If you got other ideas about pimping out your crossbow, leave it in the comments. One last note. A few people here and there over the past month or so have commented on why they think I shouldn't have thin blue line grips on my crossbow. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think. For the rest of you friends of Bungie, until next time, all hail Bungie.